I mean, obviously, you hurt him on the feet, you finished him off on the floor with a submission. How did this play out versus your expectations?
I expected it just to be versatile and not to be, one-dimensional. I know he was going to be looking for a lot of wrestling attacks and a lot of just single punches, but everybody I watched in the past, they just went and shot on him from the open, weren't successful. Anybody who threw 1-2 shots got countered very well. So I had to be a little bit creative on how I close the distance. He's a great counter puncher, really sharp with his straight left, and a lot of leverage and balance. I know I wasn't going to be able to just blast on a shot and take him down, but I know I can wear him down, punch by punch, and just keep throwing different attacks and kind of throw him off.
You're used to answering your doubters all the time and proving people wrong, but I wonder, is anything about this one particularly satisfying for you? I mean, all the hype goes around him and that sort of thing. Is anything about this win special for you?
I think I just, really redirected my mind. Dan Lambert told me this a long time ago. He said, just win. Winning conquers everything if you really think about it. I can try to make you report a certain way. I can make a fan go and say I'm the greatest of all time. But at the end of the day, as long as you keep winning and you keep, building up your stats and people go back and look at your resume, at the end of the day, they're going to recognize you're the greatest of all time. So that's really my focus. That's why I've been so quiet. I didn't overly celebrate after the fight. I didn't talk a lot of crap. I just went out there and got the job done. I wanted to just take the pressure. I told you guys, he had all the pressure. You got to beat one of the greatest welterweights of all time. You got to beat this guy with single punch knockout power. You got to beat this wrestler, and you're going to be a champion. And we may go to the O2 Arena. I've been in that position before, and it's a lot to bear. And certain parts of this week, I kind of looked at him and I kind of empathized because I'm like, he don't recognize he's going to lose. When you undefeated, you don't know. I've been in that position, 10-0, rising star. Everybody thought I was, the hottest thing on the block. Got knocked out and broke my heart. And I never thought I was going to lose. So I think he'll rebuild the same way. He's tough, he's confident, and he'll have a promising future.
You got your black belt tonight as well.
Oh, yeah, I was waiting on somebody. I'm so geeked. I've been wearing this thing to the bathroom everywhere I go. Somebody just touched it a minute ago. They almost got jumped on. Somebody put a sticker on my belt.
Well, tell us about that, because it looked like, from your reaction to that, it looked like that getting that black belt might have been as much as this title defense or more.
It's up there for sure. I've been doing jiu-jitsu since 2005. I was a wrestler, and I started training at American Top Team. At the time, I was so ignorant to the sport, I didn't know what American Top Team was. So it was a satellite school that sprouted up, and it was American Top Team. It was the first team I ever fought for. So I started doing jiu-jitsu with that team. So I was basically wrestling, jiu-jitsu, crazy shape, and I used to just swing like hell and then take guys down and do whatever I needed to do. So I didn't really start striking for a year or so. So for me to get a black belt, especially from Dino, like a lot of people don't know the story behind Dean. Dean's a little quiet wonder back there. He won't say much. But in 2006, I was at an amateur fight, and it was like, this Dean Thomas, he's the #1, lightweight in the world. And I said, oh, cool. I said, can you corner me real quick? And now thinking back, like if somebody would do that to me right now, he said, all right. So he cornered me. He came back again. Next time I saw him, I said, hey, man, can you corner me again? Not hi, not what you doing, how was your day? I just asked him randomly, can he corner me? He said, yeah. So after that, I said, I want you to be my head coach. And it didn't start immediately where he gave me 100% of his time, but I was winning fights, and didn't tell you, I was kind of putting my camps together by myself. All the way until Kevin Gastelum. A long time. Through the graces of God, and just being tough, I was able to pull it together. And Dean took me under his wing. He collaborated with Duke Rufus. Eric Brown's been my coach since 2008 at Wild Card Boxing, and they added Ben Askren at the end of that, and these guys just became the Autobots. They work together well. Everybody that's a great fighter or a great coach don't always mesh. Sometimes there's ego involved. If you watch these guys talk about the sport and what did he do in wrestling, how it can incorporate into boxing, how the boxing, there's no ego, and it's almost like listening to a symphony. So to get the black belt from Dean, after all we've been through, like not just training, Dean probably tired of me by now. So he said I am. But it just meant a lot to me, man. It just, I remember walking out to the cage, and I gave him a hug, and I'm like, man, dude, we doing it. We've been at this for a long time. I remember my eyes kind of getting a little watery, because I'm like, man, this dude's been there for me for a long, long time. So when he put the black belt on me, it definitely, emotionally, made me a little bit more, rewarding than I was gonna win that anyway. I came ready to win that. This was a surprise.
Nice. And Tyron, last thing for me, lay out what happens next. I mean, everybody's pointing to Colby Covington, saying that's the fight they want to see. Is that the fight you want at all?
Is it the dude that needs the Claritin, the Zyrtec? My God. This guy had his chance. He let Darren Till go out there and take his whooping for him. He tried to pause and try to wait to a bigger pay-per-view because his eyes got big. My thing is, I'm going to fight anybody. I'm the best in the world. Anybody put in front of me, they're going to get beat up. If it's Colby Covington, if it's Usman, if it's Robert Whittaker, if it's whoever they want me to fight, we're going to do it. So what needs to happen is they're going to call my manager. They're going to make me an offer for a fight. And if it makes sense for me, it's going to happen. So I'm not saying I am going to fight him because I don't feel like he deserves my platform right now. He had the chance to be here. He bitched out, if you want to be honest and frank. He talked all that crap, and then he got in the hot seat. The second he won that belt, I said, let's come get this smoke. He got quiet. Instagram accounts got taken down for a brief moment, and he didn't say nothing. So I think it's an embarrassment to the sport, and if that's the next person that's got to get to work, you won't have to do much to get me up for that fight. So we'll see. I'll talk to my manager and whoever they talk to. They're gonna call next week. They already kind of know what they want to do. So you guys are here pretty soon.
Tyron, I guess just off the back of that, is UFC 230 like in the realms of possibility? I mean,
was that Madison Square Garden?
Yeah.
November. That's why I had that fight tonight, isn't it?
I mean, could you do it? You didn't even take a single strike tonight.
You know, I think I can do it. What's that? November what?
Third.
November 3rd? Yeah.
First week of November, yeah.
Why y'all looking at I can fight in November. Is that what y'all trying to get?
I mean, they haven't got a main event at the moment.
Oh, they ain't got a main event?
Well,
Where my manager at anyway? Where is he at? You know, let me say this. I'm here to stay. It's the Woodley weight division. I'm excited to be back. As I told you guys before, I don't really believe in ring rust. You know, my mind stays sharp. You know, I was able to train a lot of different tools that you guys saw tonight and really disguise my right hand. And the more I fight, the better I get. And the more comfortable I get, the more confident I get. So I want to stay as active as possible. If November is the date that they're looking for a main event, I think they got their guy.
the DOS choke you finished the fight with, is that one of your go-tos, or is that something you just kind of pulled off tonight?
You know, shoot, my first 5 wins as a professional was a submission. A couple of them by a DOS choke. It's a submission that really works well for wrestlers because we always used to be in the front headlock position. And as I was punching and elbowing him, I was sneaking that hand underneath there. And I knew he didn't know what I was doing, so I'm like, I'm either going to finish him with these punches or elbows, which he seemed to eat pretty well, or I'm going to keep creeping my hand up because there was some sweat involved. And I got it to, all you got to have is your hand showing. Once my hand was showing, I put my stomach on the top of his head, locked it in. Once I had it locked in, I knew it was over with.
One name you didn't mention a minute ago, you went through a whole list of them, was Georges St. Pierre. Like, he's previously distanced himself from a fight with you, but I mean, you're racking up these kind of welterweight title defenses now, and there's a big opportunity, I guess, to prove that you are the best welterweight of all time with a fight with him. Is that something that appeals to you?
I mean, it's always appealed to me, but I'm not going to keep calling out a guy that has already had 9 title defenses, reigned over the division. He stepped away from the sport. He came back. He made it very obvious that he wanted to fight certain types of fights, and it didn't look like he wanted to fight me. So at one point, I thought I needed to be him to be the greatest because, I mean, who's going to say he's not the greatest welterweight of all time? You know, he beat the best welterweights in the world. It wasn't like he was just running through, you know, guys that was horrible. He was beating studs after stud after stud, and he really separated himself from everybody else. So I watched him do that for so long, and I always envisioned him fighting him. I always envisioned beating him. And I told myself that I had to beat him to be the greatest, but I don't. This sport is different. These guys are better. They're more well-rounded. They punch harder. They're faster. And they've been training at a younger age. It's not the wrestler that just learned how to punch. Everybody can do everything now. So I think the fact that I've been able to beat the last specialist in the game, beat the up-and-coming rising star, beat Robbie Lawler, who's one of the most vicious fighters we've ever seen, with two title fights that I think are right in the top 10 of title fights of all times, that it don't take much more for me to solidify that pot. But if he wants to fight me, of course I'm gonna fight George St. Pierre. I just don't really think he has to. I don't think he has any interest in it, and I'm kind of over it at this point.
And just lastly from me, since you've left the octagon with your black belt and your title, have you spoken to Dana White?
I haven't spoken to him yet. Did he already come in here?
No.
He left. No, I hadn't talked to him.
What would you say to him when you do see him? Because obviously he had, I guess, a few words about you yesterday in terms of like the fight this evening.
You know, I just focus on fighting and winning. You know, I did a great job. I had my phones taken away from me a couple days earlier. Usually fight day I have my phone snatched, but I didn't have my phone the last couple of days, so I didn't read any articles. But at the end of the day, you know, what speaks louder than going out there and being victorious? So, to be honest, Dana might say something this week, next week he might say something different. I don't know. So I don't take offense to it. I just go out there and fight and win. And my goal is to be the greatest in the world. And if I got to go through a whole bunch of different obstacles to get that, then, I mean, I'm built for it. That's what I'm here for.
Hey, Tyron, say you get the matchup. Say you get a matchup and things align with Whitaker or GSP. How would you feel about a potential Colby versus Usman matchup, and what are your thoughts on how that would go?
You know, it would probably make sense for Colby and Usman to fight to see who fights me, but I'm not the matchmaker. I'm not the person that's going to put that together. If the organization thinks that one of those guys fighting me sooner is a better draw and a better push for the company, then they're going to try to push for that. If it was the old days, it would be a no-brainer. Those guys would fight to see who's going to fight me. Robert Whitaker and Gastelum, I've already beat Gastelum. And Robert Whitaker's a former welterweight, so those are fights that I will always be willing to take as well. So I'm just going to say train and stay prepared, mentally sharp, and ready to roll.
Okay, and we know your thoughts on Colby. What are your thoughts on Kamaru, especially in terms of his game? Are there things you see in his skill set that you appreciate watching as a fighter?
No, I think Kamaru's dope. You know, it's a lot of things about him. It's a reason why a lot of people aren't calling him out. It's the reason why he's having a tough time getting fights. He's a strong wrestler, long reach, getting more comfortable in the striking, great takedowns, and he has a lot of composure. And you don't get that composure as early as he's gotten it. So I think he presents a lot of problems for a lot of welterweights. So for me, I love the challenge though. You know, it's nothing like sitting down, breaking it down on film, game planning, and strategizing. My coaches really get up for it. They enjoy it. Sometimes Carlos Condit, I remember me and Dean watched the first day of footage. It was like, damn, this dude good. It was like not even getting nervous. It was like I was trying to steal some of his technique. So the tougher the opponent has been for me, the more it's gotten me up. Darren Till got me up because he was hungry. He believed it. He thought he was going to win. He was confident. And he had vicious striking. He knew how to gauge distance well. You know, we thought he was going to rush Wonderboy. I thought he was going to rush Wonderboy and get knocked out because that's what everybody else did. But he took his time. He picked his shots. He was very composed. He showed intelligence out there. So, I knew what I was up against. And he was more than just a gorilla. You know, sometimes it's easy to fall behind, the rah-rah. But when you're really a cerebral fighter, you don't want to give that away. People are just now starting to recognize that's me. That's been me the whole time. But I let everybody think I was just this crazy right-hand swinging, extra calf muscle having athlete. I let them think that, and I milked the game all the way until we got right here. Now it's too late.
Okay. Lastly, do you feel, because you talked a little bit about how your first few fights you won by submission? Do you feel your performance tonight won you over a few new fans and converted some of the haters?
I can't focus on that, man. I just focus on proving the people that believe me and supported me, proving them right. A lot of people put a lot of time. Boy, if you didn't know how many people were praying for me today, I walked in there with a lot of weight in there today. It's a lot riding. A lot of people. I got to support and just thinking about everything after this. And your platform is not the same as non-champion, man. Life is way different. So just the thought of somebody can crack you with a 4-ounce glove and your life is different the next day. I walked in there heavy and I had to ask for some additional prayers. You know what? Take me out of my own mind. It's God. Give God the glory. Go out there, do what you have to do. It's already won. The battle is won. You just got to be a willing vessel. Take a deep breath. Go out there. You got the skills. You got the ability. So with prayer, for me, that really secured the victory because I went out there and I just felt light. I felt loose. You know, even when I was elbowing him, you know, I exerted a lot of energy. And I stopped for 1 second. I said, "Keep going. You got it in you." And I kept going. And that's just such a savage moment for myself to just know that if he got up, I still got 3 more rounds to put it on him.
Hi, Tyron. There's some footage of you and Darren meeting backstage.
Yeah.
What exactly did you guys say to each other after the fight?
No, he just said, "I don't deserve the criticism I get." He said, "I'm a great champion." He said, "Hopefully, you know, I'm still around long enough for him to get another shot." I told him to shake right on the road, man. I said, "You know, this happens to the best of us. You'll be fine. You know, you're a great fighter, and you know, you'll sprout from this. You'll grow from this." So he said, "Cool."
And going off of that, you and Darren have had a respectful build-up to this. How do you anticipate the build-up to a fight with Covington if it happens next?
Queefington is not getting no respect from me at all. He don't even deserve to be in the sport. He's a guy that basically at least be like 10% real. When you just go 90% just malarkey, like I can't even deal with it. I can't even watch it. Like his Instagram page was 90% me. You got to check your man card at a certain point. Like, what are you doing? So for me, we'll see. I sound like y'all making a fight. Is that what Dana said? You want me to fight next?
He hadn't said anything.
All right.
We want to see it.
I just want to see that man get whooped.
Yeah, just a quick comment, Tyron. It really doesn't matter the way you get a victory, but this was your first submission victory since 2009, which is incredible. Someone brought that up on Press Row, but it's kind of extraordinary. You fought so well, and I was like, wow, almost a decade. So little tidbit, interesting tidbit there. I really want to say the following. So tonight you've retained your world title. You earned your black belt. You won a performance of the night, and you won the hearts of even more fans. Someone mentioned that earlier. I mean, are you aware of this extraordinary night of winning? And does tonight feel high up there in your accomplishments?
You know, I just want to give God the glory, man. I can't even say nothing else. I'm going to be honest with you because, you know, what people don't recognize is when they lock the octagon, when it locks, everything that I deal with in life goes away. Literally. I can be going through the most craziest crap that nobody ever know about. But when they lock the octagon, for some reason, it's the only place that everything goes away and I can just be free and I can just fight. So, as I said earlier, my prayer is just give me the victory, I give you the glory. I'm the weapon of destruction tonight. I'm the one that's going to be used to go out there and send the message. I mean, you listen to the song I walked out to. You know, I think it's a stronger point, stronger message, a more positive use that we can use our platform for. And that's my goal, to continue to do that. Obviously, to continue to kick ass, too. So when you think about a division like ours, it's reinvented itself so many times. You know, the post-Georges St. Pierre era, then I'm the last one. Look at, I'm the last one of the era, post-Georges St. Pierre, if you really think about it. It was guys like me and Ellenberger and, you know, Hector Lombard and Robbie Lawler and Carlos Condon and Matt Brown and Rick Story and Gunnar Nelson. And who the guy still sitting here smacking people upside the head? You know what I mean? And that's a blessing. That's because of the mindset, the humility. I really focus on giving my opponents the respect they deserve, and we break them down to a molecule. So if I got some new fans, man, I appreciate it, definitely. But to be frank and honest, the people that was hating on me anyway, I was trying to just not focus on it. I was just focusing on winning, man. It's tough. It's tough in this division to win multiple title defenses. You know, it's not going to get any easier. I mean, everybody's going to come after you even harder.
Just 1 or 2 more for Tyron.
Tyron, you mentioned watching film with Dean
Yeah.
earlier. And was that lead uppercut something that you saw as an opening?
Did I hit him with lead uppercut?
He threw in lead uppercut and you countered.
I saw him. I saw him do a lot of lead uppercuts in the countdown. That's why I try not to give nothing in the countdown, because I'm like, he threw a whole bunch of straight left lead uppercuts. I think he's trying to catch me, because if you punch offline, you put yourself right in position for a lead uppercut. So what we did was a lot of parrying. Dude kept saying, "Be relaxed, have swag out there, hand fight." You saw a couple times where I just grabbed his wrist and grabbed his hand. We actually prepared a nasty little counter to the rear uppercut. That's what he was jumping in with a lot, jumping rear uppercut. So when he threw that lead uppercut, you just see me kind of take my head offline so I could throw the punch, because I was assuming the left hand was going to come next. But before he can get the left hand off, I had already landed the right. So we did a lot of punching offline, a lot of weaving, punching with him. You know, me and Eric worked there. Like, actually, I was just looking at, I do the series that you guys probably know about called the Champ Camp. On the Champ Camp, if you look at the top of this last episode, you're going to see the same exact punch. Me and Duke working on it. He throw a punch, I slip and punch. Me and Eric Brown working on the same punch. And it's just great to have like-minded coaches that see the same thing.
And lastly for me, you're currently number 7 on the pound-for-pound rankings. Do you feel like you should be higher than that?
Eventually I'm going to be 1, so I just, you know, when I was ranked for a long time, I used to get bent on and say, oh, how's he ranked this? And I started thinking, like, I'm number 3, but I'm trying to be letter C. So once you get to the champion, you don't care about 1 through 10 anymore. So my goal is to continue to become the greatest welterweight of all time. And I think without focusing on the pound for pound, I think eventually I'm going to start chiseling up to the top of that. So as long as I'm the GOAT when it comes to the welterweight division, you know, we'll worry about the pound for pound after that.
Okay, one last question.
Your mom had some encouraging words for Till. It was really sweet to see. What has she meant to your career, your life, and when you have tough times, I mean, how has she been there?
Well, my mom's always been there. She, you know, she was the ultimate sacrificer. She had worked like 3 or 4 jobs to make sure that we had what we needed. There's 13 of us in the house. A lot of times I was able to go to every wrestling camp, every football thing. You know, I don't know if you guys know, but I've been an athlete since I was 10 years old. I've never had an off season. 26 years straight with no break, no off season, straight through. That's been my life. She's missed 1 fight and 1 wrestling match ever. And the 1 wrestling match was in Russia. So that can kind of tell you right there. So just the support system and just the sacrifice and just the mentality. I mean, she's tough. She said, no, you punch his ass in the throat and the solar plex. Bring him down to you. And then when I came out the octagon, she said, yep, I told you. Punch him right there. Bring him down to your level. So sometimes, especially growing up where I grew up, you need that tough love, you know. Everything ain't sweet. Everything ain't nice. Everything ain't, you know. Today's a great day. So just having that tough love is the things I needed, you know, when you get in the octagon. You know, I was ready for war. What if he would have cracked me with a left hand? What if he would have landed one of those vicious elbows he catch people when they ride on the octagon? I would have had the broken nose. I was imagining walking there. What if my nose is broken and I got blood in my mouth? You still got to fight. I play every worst case scenario in my mind, and in no case do I think about giving up.
Okay, thank you.
Cool, thank you guys.